Hello everyone and welcome to RMU Live. Today is Thursday, November 2nd. I'm Casey Irwine and joining me is
Peyton Hostetler. Let's get right into the news. Get ready for a sugar-filled Friday afternoon. Tomorrow, November 3rd, RMU fraternity Delta Tau Delta is hosting an Eaton Park Cookie Eat-Off. Held in the Nicholson Rotunda from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., this event will be open to all RMU students. If Halloween wasn't quite sweet enough for you, this eat-off is sure to finish off your cookie cravings. To reserve your spot, sign up on RMU Revolution and get ready to crumble the competition. Have you ever considered working abroad after graduation? The Center for Global Engagement has the tools you need. On Monday, November 6th, from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m., you're welcome to attend the Jet Set Jobs Opportunities to Work Abroad Professional Development Workshop. This event will provide information about working abroad and help you prepare for these opportunities. Held in the Wheatley Cafe, this presentation is part of CGE's Exploring Possibilities Fall 2023 Workshop Series. You can RSVP for the event on RMU Revolution.
On Tuesday, November 7th, the Robert Morris Collegiate 100 is hosting a sip and paint event. Join them from 5 to 6:30 p.m. to sip a mocktail and paint a picture. The Collegiate 100 is committed to volunteerism, improvement of the community, mentoring, and positive role modeling for young African American youth. The organization is very excited to bring a sip and paint event to Robert Morris students, supporting both the students' body and the Collegiate 100 organization. I might just have to show up because I myself do be big sipping. If you're looking for the cherry on top of your week, join Chef Dan on Tuesday, November 7th from 6 to 7 p.m. for a Cherries Jubilee cooking workshop. Get ready to play with fire in Hale 303, where you'll get to learn about flambeing and incorporating fire into dishes. After finishing the dish, you'll be able to try your very own sweet creation. There are only 20 spots available for this workshop, so be sure to sign up as soon as possible on RMU Revolution. And right here, we've gone from sipping to eating, and I'm starting to get a little worked up, guys. Pittsburgh was saved this Halloween outside of the UPMC Children's Hospital. 4 superheroes were spotted scaling the outside of the building. A real treat for the children inside as Captain America, Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman rappelled their way down the front of the building, cleaning windows along the way. The team of heroes are employees with Allegheny Window Cleaning, who've been making fun a part of their work for 9 years. According to employee Edward Hetrick, quote, "Absolutely, we feel like superheroes. It's wonderful for kids. The parents love it and the staff love it. It's a great day," end quote.
PNC Broadway in Pittsburgh presents The Wiz, a new twist on an old classic. This groundbreaking twist on The Wizard of Oz changed the face of Broadway, and now it's heading to Pittsburgh on a national tour before it hits the Broadway stage in New York. Packed with soul, gospel, rock, and finger-snapping funk, there's no place like home to experience this all-new revival of The Wiz. The shows will run each night through the weekend at the Benedict Center in downtown Pittsburgh. You can purchase tickets online now through the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. Speaking of Pittsburgh, Kennywood is excited to get into the holiday spirit a little earlier than expected. The park announced that their holiday lights will kick off on Saturday, November 18th, a week sooner than planned. In addition to the extended season, Kennywood says it will welcome visitors 2 hours earlier on most days, opening at 3 p.m. There will be plenty of entertainment, including magic shoes, local celebrity readings of The Night Before Christmas, a model train display, and dance parties for the kids. And of course, many fan favorite rides will be open. The Jackrabbit, the Merry-Go-Round, the Kangaroo, and many more. Speaking of the holiday season, the weather has not been feeling holly and jolly lately. Bethany Naughton has our weekly weather update. Bethany, take it away.
Hey guys, let's take a look at our hourly forecast. At 3 p.m., it's going to be partially cloudy with a high of 45 degrees. At 6 p.m., it's going to be 43 degrees, and at 9 p.m., it's going to drop all the way to 38 degrees. And then today's forecast is going to be a high of 46 degrees with a low of 26 degrees. And at humidity, it's going to be 70%, and chance of precipitation is going to be 0%. And then tomorrow's forecast, we're going to drop it right back up to 54 degrees with a low of 33. Humidity is going to be 61%, and the chance of precipitation is 0%. And let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. On Saturday, it's going to be cloudy with a high of 55 degrees with a low of 42. Sunday, it's going to be partially cloudy once again with a high of 60 degrees with a low of 45. Monday, it's going to go back up to 63 degrees with a low of 47. Tuesday, it's going to be raining with a high of 56 with a low 38. And Wednesday, it's going to be partially cloudy with a high of 43 with a low 32. Looks like this week is going to be a little chilly one, so please don't forget your sweaters and your umbrella. We're going to send it right back to the desk.
Thank you, Bethany, and for many of you going to the Steelers game tonight, you'll definitely want to bring some extra layers. I know I will be because I'll be there. Peyton, you got a puffer and some Tims on you this holiday season? Or?
Yeah, you know, I'm not ready for the cold weather, but I am ready for the snow to come. I'm excited to get out there and hit the slopes this season.
Expect a snowball in your face when that comes around. Coming up, find out why a SWAT team was deployed in South Oakland and what devastating news has impacted Hollywood and hockey.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
Welcome back to RMU Live. On Monday, there was an hours-long SWAT situation in South Oakland, which thankfully ended peacefully. Around noon, police had asked the public to avoid the area, and eventually SWAT arrived onto the scene. Pittsburgh public safety officers said they responded after a 911 hang-up call. When they got there, the man on said call said he was not doing well and had barricaded himself inside with what appeared to be a shotgun. Around 3 p.m., the man surrendered peacefully and was taken into custody after officers talked with him on the phone for hours. Officials say he was transported to receive the assistance he needs. Tuesday's Halloween ended up being quite scary for one family after a Hampton middle schooler was struck by a car while on campus. 7:35 a.m., the 6th grade student was hit while attempting to cross the street from Upper Fridley Field to the middle school. Members of the school's crisis team were on the scene immediately, and they found the student to be both conscious and responsive. EMS took the student to a local hospital. There, the student was reported to have no internal injuries or broken bones. A spokesperson has said the student is in good spirits.
An IUP officer fired a shot at a student who placed a fake call to 911 and was wielding a knife. Pennsylvania State Police said the suspect, 19-year-old Cameron Ranbaugh, called 911 reporting a robbery and said the suspect had a knife and was wearing all black. When Indiana University of Pennsylvania officers arrived to the scene, Ranbaugh was standing there in all black and armed with a knife. The student charged at an officer and pushed him down, causing the officer to fire a shot. No one was hit, and Ranbaugh fled. Officers chased him down and, with the help of a taser, took him into custody. A preliminary hearing for Ranbaugh is scheduled for November 8th. Following 2 days of a manhunt in Lewiston, Maine, the mass shooter who committed an attack in the evening of October 25th has been found dead. Mike Valerio has the latest.
Tonight, the city of Lewiston and the state of Maine begin to move forward on what will be a long and difficult road to healing.
After 48 hours of a full-on manhunt, the search for the individual police say is responsible for killing at least 18 people and wounding 13 others is over. The suspect has now been found dead. Authorities say his body was in the woods near the main recycling center from which he'd recently been fired. They believe he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
You pray all day and you cry. I cried all night and prayed all night.
A father's agony after losing his son, Joseph Walker, in Wednesday's mass shootings in Lewiston, Maine. The families of all the victims are still trying to make sense of this horrific event. In the hunt for the suspected gunman, authorities found a cell phone, a rifle, and a note, which, according to law enforcement sources, suggested the suspect did not expect to be alive when the note was found.
Our reality here is that the search has been extensive, it's been thorough, it's been nonstop.
Community residents are now relieved they can begin to grieve.
They were people, living, breathing, caring, loving people. And they're not anymore. And there is no rational explanation as to why not.
In Lewiston, Maine, I'm Mike Valerio.
Thank you, Mike. President Martha Pollack of Cornell University has announced that police are investigating a series of anti-Semitic threats made against the school's Jewish community in online posts. The online messages surfaced Sunday and include threats to shoot Jewish students at the 104 West building, which houses their kosher dining hall, and messages encouraging others to harm Jewish students. According to the school student newspaper, the Cornell Daily Sun, this comes as a result of the raging war between Israel and Hamas in the Middle East. NY police will increase their security on Cornell's campus following the threats and warn that anyone making threats will get no refuge.
Beloved actor Matthew Perry, who many fell in love with for his character, Chandler Bing on the show Friends, has died at 54. Perry was found on Sunday unconscious in a jacuzzi. There's currently no foul play expected. However, the incident remains under investigation by the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery and Homicide Division. An autopsy has been conducted, but examiners are awaiting the results of toxicology reports in order to determine Perry's cause of death. Perry's family has released a statement saying they are, quote, heartbroken by the tragic loss of our beloved son and brother, end quote. Perry is survived by his parents and siblings. Professional hockey player and former Pittsburgh Penguin Adam Johnson has died following a freak accident on the ice in the second period of his game with English side Nottingham Panthers. Johnson suffered a serious neck injury after colliding with another player, causing a skate to catch the area. The 29-year-old and his family have received overwhelming support since the tragic incident. In a statement, the NHL said, quote, the National Hockey League family mourns the passing of former Pittsburgh Penguin Adam Johnson. Our prayers and deepest condolences go to his family, friends, and teammates, end quote.
Everyone at RMU Live extends their condolences to both Perry and Johnson's family and Johnson and his teammates.
Staying with sports, it has been a busy week in Pittsburgh and RMU sports world. Josh, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. It was a big weekend for sports here at Robert Morris, with some teams' season starting and others extending theirs. We'll start off with men's hockey, who split their series with Bentley last week. The Colonials took the first game 4-3. Goalkeeper Chad Veltri made a career-high 51 saves. Unfortunately, they conceded the next day, losing 3-0 to the Falcons. Women's hockey would also split their series against Mercyhurst after losing their first game 9-2 on Friday. The Colonials would rally behind sophomore forward Madison Primow and beat the Lakers 3-2. Also, on Friday night, men's basketball made their return. They took on Penn State in an exhibition match that was also a fundraiser for Coaches vs. Cancer Foundation. The men's team would fall to the Nittany Lions 68-58. Next up on Saturday, football took on Tennessee Tech, where they lost 38-13. Men's soccer took on Detroit Mercy also on Saturday, where they lost 3-1. But women's soccer would keep their season rolling after securing their spot in the Horizon League tournament for the first time in program history last week against Youngstown. The women's team took on Wright State on Sunday in the quarterfinals, backed by their strong midfield and clinical attack. The Colonials took away their first Horizon League postseason win 4-1 over the Raiders. They now face number 1 seeded Milwaukee today. It was a tough weekend, though, for Pittsburgh sports. The Penguins would continue their losing streak, dropping games to the Senators and the Ducks. And the Steelers would also fall to the Jags 20-10 after quarterback Kenny Pickett was injured. Pickett said himself, though, he should be fine to take on the Tennessee Titans tonight on Thursday Night Football at 8. That's all for sports. I'll send it back over to the desk.
Thank you, Josh. It's exciting to see what RMU Sports has been up to, but Pittsburgh sports has been letting us all down.
When we come back, we'll update you on the war in Gaza and how the U.S. plans to get involved. Stay tuned here at RMU Live.
Bring it. Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one? I gotta go eat, man. Sorry, I'll see you later.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Welcome back to RMU Live. As the war between Israel and Hamas grows, Israel has initiated the expansion of the ground invasion into Gaza. CNN reporter Jeremy Diamond has the latest.
Our photojournalist Matthias Somm was able to get a closer look from this position where we are at some of the damage in Beit Hanun, which is the northeasternmost city inside of Gaza, where we know that Israeli troops have been operating. And you can see in some of this footage some of the destruction to the buildings in that area. What we've also been watching over the last several hours is heavy artillery fire directed at the Gaza Strip. We've been seeing flares going up and smoke from the Gaza Strip. And what we've also been hearing over the last several hours includes drones, helicopters, and heavy machine gun fire, indicating active battles between Israeli troops and Hamas militants inside of Gaza. Now, the IDF told us that overnight they killed dozens of terrorists in buildings and tunnels inside of Gaza as they've been operating now. And this expanded ground operation is entering its fourth day now. Over the course of these last several days, the IDF said that they struck over 600 targets in recent days, which includes weapons depots and dozens of anti-tank missile launching points. It's been interesting to watch the way in which they've been operating. You know, we were anticipating the possibility of a kind of overwhelming large ground invasion with hundreds of thousands of troops going into Gaza. That is not what we have seen thus far. Instead, they appear to be methodically going after some of these reinforced positions that Hamas fighters have prepared in anticipation of an Israeli ground offensive inside of Gaza. But we are learning now that the forces are not operating not only in northern Gaza, northeastern Gaza, which is right behind me here, but also south of Gaza City. A video just came out showing an Israeli tank in southern Gaza City on a main road there, apparently firing on passenger vehicles, according to a Palestinian freelance journalist in the city. We can actually see in the video that tank operating and appearing to fire on passenger vehicles. So this is very much an ongoing, very dynamic situation, and the IDF says that they are going to continue to expand these operations, continue to add more troops inside of Gaza as these operations continue.
Thank you, Jeremy.
With the expansion of the ground invasion in Gaza, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is growing. Salma Abulaziz is on the ground in Gaza.
Where do you go when the bombs won't stop? Where do you shelter your family when the shelters are full? For many Gazans, the answer is a hospital. The head doctor shows us around. All that separates these families and the ICU is this door, he explains. These are not proper sterile conditions. Some 12,000 displaced people are camped out in Al-Quds Hospital in northern Gaza, and every single person you see here has been told by Israel's army to leave and move south, an evacuation order the UN previously called inhumane. This is not a place for children to play. This is a disaster, the doctor says. Look, these are sick people. How can a man on a walker be evacuated? Hospitals are protected under international law, but Israel claims Hamas uses medical facilities as command centers. Aid groups and Palestinian officials deny these allegations. Either way, this is still not a safe place. Step outside the doors, and this is what you face: non-stop Israeli artillery and airstrikes. Everyone here fears the explosions will only get closer, but there's nowhere else to run. Across the street, desperate people steal basic supplies. The war and a suffocating siege is causing civil order to break down, the UN says. Families cannot be expected to flee into this chaos, this father says. This is a war against our children. See how scared he is from the bombs? Now we are alive, but tomorrow we could be dead. Please save us, he pleads. Less than a quarter-mile away from the hospital, this is the aftermath of one of those strikes. Residents pull people out of the rubble of their homes. They can depend only on each other. Comms are down. No one can call an ambulance. Just try and carry him out on your shoulder, someone shouts. Are my mom and dad alive? The wounded man asks. The sound of war never ceases. You could die trying to help the living. This is one neighborhood during 1 hour in Gaza, a tiny glimpse into the horror. The humanity and dignity of more than 2 million people that live here, a casualty of a war so many did not choose.
Thank you, Salma.
Tensions are continuing to grow in the Middle East as protests occur due to the ongoing fight between Israel and Hamas. CNN reporter John Lawrence has the latest update on what the U.S. is doing with these rising tensions.
Roughly 900 American troops are being deployed to the Middle East to provide more protection for U.S. forces and interests overseas, according to the Pentagon.
I can confirm that they are not going to Israel, and that again they are intended to support regional deterrence efforts and further bolster U.S. force protection capabilities.
The deployed forces are coming from Fort Bliss, Fort Sill, Fort Liberty, and Fort Cavazos.
We're going to continue to communicate with our partners on the importance of civilian safety, but we also recognize Israel's inherent right of self-defense as well.
Israeli military officials say they're preparing for a ground offensive against Hamas following the militant group's fatal attacks on Israel earlier this month.
We are continuing to support Israel's military. Security assistance continues to flow to them as needed, almost on a daily basis.
This latest conflict between the Israelis and Palestinians has caused more than 1,400 deaths in Israel and nearly 6,000 in Gaza since the start of the war, according to officials from both sides. Some leaders of the European Union are calling for a humanitarian pause in the war so that much-needed aid can be brought into Gaza.
We're working with partners on the ground to see if we can accelerate and increase the flow of humanitarian assistance in.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Thank you, John.
A natural disaster has occurred in Mexico. We'll give you the information on that, plus one more heartwarming segment to lighten it all back up when we come back.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
We discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live. Last week, Hurricane Otis tore through southern Mexico's Guerrero state, claiming at least 45 lives and leaving 47 people missing. The Category 5 storm brought sustained winds of up to 165 miles an hour, leaving part of southern Mexico in ruins. Fortunately, 340 people have been rescued by Mexican authorities so far. Storm surge and rain submerged roads with several feet of murky waters and knocked out power in over 500,000 homes and businesses across the state. President Joe Biden said in a statement Friday he is, quote, deeply saddened by the loss of life and devastation, end quote. Crisis-racked Argentina is heading to a runoff vote this month between left-wing candidate Sergio Massa and right-wing far libertarian Javier Milei, according to data released by Argentina's National Electoral Chamber after the first round of voting. Each is prodding for the nation's trust at a moment of widespread disillusionment. With the country's elite and its management of the country to win in the first round of voting, a presidential candidate must obtain more than 45% of all votes, or a minimum of 40%, and at least a 10-point lead over the second-place candidate. Argentina's next president will take office in December and will begin a 4-year term.
$65 million. That's how much a previously unseen painting by Claude Monet is expected to fetch when it goes to auction in New York early this month. Entitled Water Lily Pond, the 6.5-foot wide painting is part of Monet's famous Water Lily series, depicting light speckling on the water and casting reflections of water lilies and willow trees. Painted around 1917 to 1919, it dates from the later period of Monet's life, as he produced a series of works depicting water lilies that now hang in museums worldwide. Until now, the painting has remained in the same family collection for more than 50 years, where it was impeccably preserved and hidden away. Monet's paintings are emblematic of Impressionism itself, now becoming some of the most recognizable art pieces worldwide. Halloween was celebrated this Tuesday, with trick-or-treaters moving from house to house for some free candy. However, just across the pond in Great Britain, some cute critters at the Whipsnade Zoo took part in their own trick-or-treating.
That is not a critter. Look at her go at that pumpkin right there. It's adorable for such a large species to just go at it.
And even some penguins as well. They really do look like they're enjoying their time, really getting in the Halloween spirit.
They're on some happy feet type stuff right there. You got the goat going at it right there. Look at him just tear it up right there. And there it goes.
Right off the table.
He had fun with that one while it lasted. And we've got the weasels there. And that's all we've got for you today with RMU Live. We hope you enjoyed that last